Hey guys, Kitsune TCG here, back with another video, and today I thought I'd kind of follow up on my Adventure Traptrix profile and kind of show you a little bit more of a concise list just based off of, a few weeks of playtesting now, as well as, just kind of go through some test hands and, like what you can kind of expect playing this deck and, kind of the most optimal way to, like I said, just kind of go out about each hand. Now I did want to just kind of start there. So you are essentially playing a 37 card list because we are running 3 Products of Prosperity. There are plenty, of cards in the extra deck that, yes, you would like to use, but obviously depending on the hand, you know which ones you can get rid of. So kind of playing these 3 is obviously going to increase the deck's overall consistency. From there, as far as like the Traptrix monsters that you are running a decent number of them just because you do need them to begin your plays, so you definitely want to make sure that you're seeing at least one. From there, we are maxing out on the 3 Myrmelio. Now obviously, with the Adventure Engine, you do lose your normal summon effect, which is fine. You are trading, at this point, a search of like a normal hull trap card for a Omni Negate. That is totally a fair trade. But, sometimes there are some hands where you are not going to see the Adventure Engine, and you're kind of able to get its effect to the fullest. The reason why we still are playing 3, though, is it still has the best, or one of the best at this point, special summon effects. Obviously, with like Pudica being able to banish a monster, that can sometimes be more, a better fit for, your depending situation. But, its mandatory effect, Pop a Spell Trap, that can definitely come up in a lot of situations, so that's definitely why you want to max that one out at 3. Arachnocampia is the other one you're going to play at 2. This one is obviously the one that can special summon from hand, so, if you have a Traptrix monster plus this, you're able to trigger Sarah's effect by activating this in hand, plus the ability to protect your set spell traps is pretty important as well, and that can definitely come up in some games. You are going to play 2 Mantis. Again, another kind of thing, sometimes it's a normal summon effect can come up. You can go normal this, search Arachnocampia. Just kind of depends, obviously, on the hand, as far as like what kind of plays you want to make. But that is definitely kind of a play that sometimes, I guess, can come up. And also, it, doesn't really have a special summon effect, but, do definitely want to play at least 2 of those. From there, this is another part that's going to come up. We do need to make sure that we have a decent number of plant counts because we are running a small Therion engine. So you are running 2 Dionea. This one, again, normal summon effect to kind of special back a Traptrix monster can come up in some situations, and it can definitely kind of help you, navigate a turn 3, turn 2, things like that. But its special summon effect to set a normal whole trap card can definitely come up as well, especially, when you are running the whole Tekka. Just the 1 Vesiculo, again, it's a worse version of Arachnocampia. Its special summon effect requires you to ditch a whole card. And it does have, if you don't have any spell traps, banish, to set one. So it has some uses, but it's definitely kind of been power crept out by Arachnocampia. But you do want to run at least 1 just because at the end of the day, it is a plant Traptrix. And then the 1 Pudica. This one you can maybe run at 2, but for the purposes of running a 40-card build and trying to maintain consistency, because we are running several engines in here, I think 1 is fine, and having 4, plant count is good because, with Sarah, you're obviously able to bring at least 1 of them out, so, usually at all times, you're able to get 1 on the field. And kind of rounding it out, honorary Traptrix monsters are your 3 Parallel Exceed. This is obviously going to be an additional way for you to go into a rank 4. And same thing with like Shade Brigadine, but it also does act as, activating a trap card on your turn to activate Sarah. So just kind of another way for you to be able to get that rank 4 out. From there, we are still running a maxed out Adventure Engine. Obviously, you know, you are going to want to do this until the engine gets hit in any way. So we got the 3 Water Enchantress, the 1 Wandering Griffin Rider, the 3 Right. This you could maybe cut down to 2 and maybe add like a second Pudica if you'd like, because Water Enchantress can add back from the graveyard. So, you know, you definitely want to make sure that you're maxed out on the Water Enchantress. But for the purposes of this, making sure, you know, we want to see the most we can, I think 3 Right is necessary. The 1 Fateful, and then the 1 Dracoback. Again, you know, just kind of maxed out on this right now. We want to see this in every hand that we possibly can, so making sure that you have, you know, at least essentially 6 copies of Right is pretty important. Rounding out the last engine, we do have the kind of like a small Therion engine. So you have the King Regulus. I'm just using an imperm right now. My the Lily I don't have in yet. So, and then you have the Disc Coliseum. So what you can do is you can go Merrymaker, Springans, and then again, don't have the rank 8 yet. But then you would go into the Sargus, overlay that way, you know, add the Disc Coliseum, activate the Disc Coliseum, add the Liboria, and then you're able to use the Liboria's effect as long as you have a, you know, plant Traptrix engrave, get it on the field, get rid of it to get the King Regulus. So there are some hands that you are able to go into both of the Omni Negates. It definitely requires more cards than you would probably normally draw into, because I think it's like usually like a 3 or 4 card combo, so it does require, you know, quite a specific hand, but it sometimes can come up. But there are some times, you know, where you don't have access to the Adventure Engine, where you have access to this, where you don't have access to this, but you have access to the Adventure Engine. Just kind of gives you, you know, more consistency overall, making sure that you are having access to some form of like an Omni Negate. From there, you know, as far as like the traps go, you are wanting to run evenly. This can just basically act as a discard for Holteca if you do happen to go first, but, you know, it can also be a really great thing going second. You know, it's something that you want to make sure that you're main decking against things like, you know, Kashtira. You know, it even hits Branded really well, so definitely a pretty good card to main deck at this format. The 2 Gravediggers. This hits a lot of cards, you know, a lot of things want to, you know, special back from hand, special from grave, things like that. So having this in there is definitely, you know, something you want to have at least 2 of, because it is going to be one of the ones that comes up the most. And then from there, you know, we have just the 1 Terrifying Trap Hole, the 1 Floodgate, and the 1 Holteco. I have seen people play more of this, and it's not bad, but having, you know, to open it plus a normal trap does kind of, I think, make it inherently worse version of Shade Brigadine. Obviously, you know, this doesn't have the stipulation of having, you know, no traps engraved, so, you know, on additional turns it is like stronger, but I think the purpose, you know, you want to make sure that you are opening 1 going first, so I think just running the 1 is totally fine. And yes, it does kind of act as a Traptrix name, which can definitely come up for going into Sarah, but I definitely think that, you know, you have like a few other plays to kind of get into there. And I'll just kind of go over the extra deck real quick, and then I'll kind of shuffle up and just show you off some like different like test hands. So you have the 1 Rafflesia, the 1 Pingu, Alamaris, Merrymaker. Like I said, this is supposed to be the rank 8 Sargus. And then you do have like a Zeus package, so you are running Chakanine, Borbo, and then you want to have double Zeus, just because that is definitely something that you want to make sure doesn't get taken out of your extra deck by Kashtira. 2 Sarah, not really for the same reason. You know, you want to make sure you run 2, because sometimes you are going to lose that first one, and this is definitely the best card in the deck. So kind of losing access to it overall is pretty bad, but, you know, running 3 is kind of like too much, so, you know, you definitely want to run at least 2. League Spider is in here for sometimes when you just don't draw enough, you know, Traptrix cards, but, you know, you have like Shade Brigadine plus Parallel Exceed, you can still definitely get something on the board. Splash Mage is similar thing, you know, where you have access to Parallel Exceed, but, you know, you maybe want to go into a little bit of a draw engine, so you can definitely kind of go into that with Heat Soul. And then the, you know, Link 3 Traptrix. This is really just for more closing out games, and just being able to kind of give that extra 1,000 attack can definitely kind of help you push for that game. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and get this shuffled up, and I will definitely kind of show y'all some different test hands. Alright, and just kind of finishing up shuffling, I'll show off maybe 1 or 2 hands. Really kind of try and show, you know, what the deck is capable of. So from there, Water Enchantress, Gravedigger's Trap Hole, Evenly, Arachnocampia, and Holteco. Okay, so that's not a bad hand at all. From there, definitely one of the first things we can do is go Water Enchantress. You know, this definitely kind of lets us know if they decide they want to ash that. You know, it just kind of eliminates a, you know, card from their hand plus a hand trap. But, you know, if they don't, then we can grab the right. From there, we can go ahead and activate the right. We can get... put that there. Of course. It's always the top card. Yep, so we've got the Fateful with the token. Now here, we can just go ahead and normal the Arachnocampia. Use that to link into Sarah. Here's where kind of you get a little bit of an interesting, so we can, you know, set the whole Teku. We can go ahead and activate it by pitching the evenly match, since, you know, for going first, definitely not going to need that at this point. And get that on the field, which will trigger the Sarah, which will allow us to special summon a Traptrix monster. From there, probably your best one based off of this hand would be to go into the Mermelio. So what you would want to do is you want to go Sarah 1, Fateful 2. So we would grab the Draco back off of that. We'd have this here. Before really anything, really want to overlay Mermelia would trigger, my bad, which would allow you, we already have access to the Gravediggers. So from there, you know, maybe just grabbing the Terrifying Trap Hole, be pretty good. Overlay these two for Rafflesia. This just kind of protects us against Biru or any other kind of, you know, hand trap at this point, but probably would have dropped one if they had one by now. We can go Fateful effect. Grabbing the Griffin Rider. Pitching the Draco back, you know, you go Draco back 1, Griffin Rider 2 to summon. And, you know, pretty standard inboard. We have 2 set traps. You know, we have a monster negation, we have a monster destruction, and, you know, depending on, you know, what order we've gone, this can be, you know, additionally like a banishing. So, you know, that could also play into, you know, Brandon and Red, you know, several things like that, you know, they want to, they target a card in the graveyard. This can definitely be a way to interact with them as well. Plus, you know, you have Rafflesia, maybe another Gravediggers, maybe, you know, Floodgate. Obviously, it just depends on the situation. And then we have the One Ring Griffin Rider for the Omni Negate. So, you know, just overall, the deck kind of does definitely do a really good job of getting a lot of interaction on the board. Go ahead and we'll shuffle up one more time. Try and see if we can show off maybe some different combos. So like I said, the deck is definitely not super linear. Obviously, you know, there are your best inboards. Every deck's going to have that, but, you know, this deck does definitely, you know, require you to be aware of the different options that you have available to you, you know, and if you have the knowledge of, you know, what kind of deck you're going against, that can definitely influence some of the plays and decisions that you make. So I'll deck again, evenly again, Shade Brigandine this time. with right, and maybe a Traptrix monster, and a Traptrix monster. That's perfect. Alright, again, so this can just kind of show off a few of the different options. Definitely want to start with the right. You know, definitely having access to all of your different engines definitely does make all your plays more the better. So we've got that there. I definitely want to, at this point, probably, that's the best way we could go about it. Yeah, we can normal the Arachnocampia. Can link it away for Sarah. Now from here, we do obviously have like a few different options. Easiest one first is we can go Shade Brigadine, get Shade Brigadine on the board. Well, let's go with the Sarah effect. Now from here, actually, you know, yeah, we gotta. I can definitely show off some different options here. So we could go Sarah 1, Fateful 2. We can grab the Draco back. Let's grab. Let's grab Vesaculo. So it doesn't really matter what we're grabbing here. We are definitely going to trigger an effect. Oh, so that'll be special summon. So from here, we can actually overlay these two. Go to this one. Obviously, this one's effect mainly is going to be searching. So we didn't actually, you know, use the effect to special for the Arachnocampia, so we can actually just grab another copy of it, which would trigger Sarah. So we can actually go ahead and set a copy of the Gravediggers. And before anything, we might as well just go ahead and kind of, you know, establish the Griffin Rider. With the Fateful. Again, you know, kind of same thing. Dracobacker 1, Griffin Rider 2. So now we have kind of this board state, but we do have a plant in the grave, so, you know, we can actually now special this one here. We can set the Holteca, activate it by pitching the Evenly Matched, and we can go into Merrymaker. So this does sacrifice, you know, Rafflesia. You know, in some cases, you know, maybe not having like the monster negate or, you know, kind of like monster interruption, you know, that can be not as good of a play as like an additional like Omni negate. So kind of going Merrymaker into Sargus. Sargus can then grab us the field spell, which was out at the top as well. Yes, okay. Activate the Disc Coliseum. Disc Coliseum, at this point, you would be grabbing the Lily Borea, which I am using a Imperm for, so you can go Lily Borea, targeting Vesaculo. Lily Borea's effect. Grab the Regulus. Now from here, Regulus, you're going to target the Lily Borea, bring it out. And so now you do have quite a few things. So you have a set Gravediggers, so you have a kind of interruption negate there. We have 2 Omni negates. And then, you know, with Sargus, if a card is detached, so if, you know, you're playing another Exceeds-based strategy, this can act as an interruption with a pop. You know, the Fateful actually does protect, you know, cards that have an equip, so, you know, you have the tokens is protected there, but that also does actually protect Regulus. So, you do have several different plays. Disc Coliseum could be, if you do use its effect and, then one of your monsters is destroyed, just be a way for you to get that back. So, overall the board and the deck have like a lot of different plays, and then you'd still have access to Sarah. So you would obviously with a full board have to, organize things in a certain way to be able to make sure that you're able to get, Spell Trap pop or, Monster Banish. But overall, I mean, the deck, like I said, it does have just a lot of different ways to kind of play. You have like several different M boards. Yeah, I just think it's a fun deck overall. I think a lot of more people should definitely kind of give this version a try. I think it definitely kind of, just opens up the deck to be a little bit more, kind of like interesting. I think a little bit more, I'd say, like, I don't know if it necessarily increases the power level over a more pure version, but, just kind of a little bit of a different take. And especially with the kind of increased popularity of Traptrix due to pack, I definitely think that, this is definitely a pretty good matchup in the mirror matchup. So it just kind of gives you a little bit more interaction with that overall. But yeah, I just thought I'd kind of show off some different test hands, let y'all know, what this deck does, what you can definitely expect with it. And, let me know down below what you think, if you think this version is, better, worse than a more pure version. I'd just be happy to kind of hear, what y'all's thoughts are overall, and I will see y'all next time.